So we're back here with Tamara, and she had the awesome privilege of actually preparing her children from homeschool to in the military at 18. And so, can you give us just how do you do it?
Initially, it wasn't my choice. We let our children pick what they want to do as they get older. They both had their associate's degree before they were 18, and I think for us that was the key to getting them in. When we first went to the recruiter with our oldest, we didn't talk education and all that first. We just got a feel for what branch he would want and what job he would want to work with in the military.
Now, how old was he when you did that?
He was 17.
Okay.
He wasn't 18 yet. He had not graduated from high school yet. He was just putting feelers out initially. And so he had decided he wanted to go into the Navy, into the Seabees, because that's a construction battalion, and he could learn a trade that when he got out he could use for his career. So we had planned for him to go into the Navy, and then when we got to the paperwork and the nitty-gritty, they said he doesn't have a high school diploma. And I said, he has a college diploma because he has his associate's degree. And they said, yeah, but we need that piece of paper that shows he has a high school diploma. And I explained the homeschooling in the state of Florida. They do not issue diplomas, etc. We're not under an umbrella school. We are homeschooled. We're just homeschooled. So they did give us grief for a little bit. I made up a transcript and a real pretty piece of paper that said it was a diploma. Initially, he could have gotten in as an E1, but they weren't going to give him credit for the college.
Really?
Without the high school diploma, which would be an E3. And finally, they worked it out with whoever was in the upper echelons, and they said they would accept it and he could go in as an E3 with the college diploma.
So the big point is you spent a lot of time talking.
Oh my goodness, weeks.
Weeks.
To where I said, Logan, if you're not going in as an E3, you don't need to go in the service. You can put your talent somewhere else if they don't want to.
And so then that was your first one, and then you had a second one that decided to go into the military. And when did he start visiting the recruiting office?
Last minute. He wasn't sure that's what he wanted to do, but he didn't know what else he wanted to do. He wanted to be a mechanic. He likes having his hands in the engines and diesel engines, but the alternative of the military would be you could go to Votech, which would cost him. He could work at an oil change place or something for minimum wage and work his way up, or he could go into the military, get paid immediately, learn the trade, and then when he gets out, he's got, plus at 18, who wants to really hire you in a mechanic shop at 18 with no experience. And so he thought at least he would have matured some. He'd be 21 when he gets out because it's only 3 years for Army. So
okay, so they went into different branches then.
Yes.
Now, how was it going into the Army versus the other?
Well, I was a little smarter this time, and I didn't bring up the fact he didn't have a high school diploma, and I printed something up pretty, and nobody questioned it.
Wow. So now you did things a little bit different, and we're going to go into another segment on that. You actually have them get their associate's degree, so pretty much a 2-year college degree at 18. They get that about when they graduate homeschool high school.
Right.
And that gave them a foot in the door, kind of foot up. So they didn't actually come in at entry at 18. They came in at the 3rd pay grade.
Yeah, 2 tiers up.
So, in your experience now putting 2 into the military, as a homeschool mom, what's your best advice for other moms or other students in the homeschool world that want to go into the military?
Ooh, that's a tough one. For us, because I think they got in because they had that associate's degree. So straight from high school, I'm not positive. Unless you do an umbrella school and you have or with the dual credit program, at least here, if you give up your homeschool status, you can call yourself a public school student in our county, and they don't have to necessarily go to the public school. They can do the dual credit courses, and they will get a diploma from the county. So that's another way around. I just didn't want to give up the homeschool status.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I wanted to keep control of the education they were getting, what classes they were taking. and I can add and subtract classes along with the dual credit. Because we actually spread the dual credit over their 4 years of high school. We
Right.
take a few classes here, a few classes there to get the total 60.
So now, do you feel like it had a bigger advantage going in last minute to the military offices, or do you think it would have been better to start earlier?
I think with the military, sometimes it's luck of the draw. Logan went in really early, and he had to wait almost a year before there was a position available because he wanted construction. Whereas Justice, they didn't have a whole lot of wheeled vehicle mechanics, or they had a greater opening for them. So he got in right away, even though he waited to the last minute.
So it's all kind of just, you never know what's available.
For me personally, I'd rather know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of going in earlier, to me, is a little wiser. You can plan for it better. But it didn't really work out.
Now, when they went in and they had, you brought their education, that aspect to it. But what about, do they have things that kind of say, what do you want to do in the military, and this is our options? Do they walk you through all of that?
Yeah, especially in the Army, Justice just picked what he wanted. And they said, okay, we'll wait for that position, and there happen to be positions. With Logan, it was more like, well, if you want to get in, here are the 5 things in the CBs that you can choose from. And also, it depends on their ASVAB scores. You have to score a certain level before you can. Now, Logan got a 98, I think, on the ASVAB.
He was more than prepared.
Yeah, he tests very well. So he could have done anything. And I was pushing nuclear, but anyway.
Where do you go to get the it's the ASVAB?
ASVAB.
Where do you, I remember taking it in high school. They
That would be pre-ASVAB?
Yeah, pre-ASVAB. Now, where did the boys take their ASVAB?
Through the recruiters, they actually had to go to Fort Myers.
Okay.
And there was a certain day they went all together with the recruiters, everybody who wanted to take the test. And
okay, so it's kind of an organized set test that they probably do once a month or so forth.
Yeah.
Great.
So that was it. Now they're both in.
Well, I hope that helps you out or answers any of your questions you have. You can leave me a question in the comments if you have more questions for Tamara, and I will harass her and hopefully get them answered for you. Or maybe we'll do another video if they get a few too many questions and you can answer that.
Sure.
So thanks so much, and don't worry, we'll have another episode about getting your kids in college.